impromptu podcast. Hello, friends and family. We've seen you in the past 24 hours. You're not seeing double. We were here yesterday. Yes, the bump is still here, but it's coming along. We're going to get rid of that soon. Couple things that we just wanted to address and talk about. Anita, hi. I know that usually we are on Thursday evenings, and it is a wet and yucky Friday afternoon, but we figured that we just come on here before things got really excited, or exciting with the birth of this little one. A couple things that we wanted to address to our fans, to the people that have been following us for, I would say 50 podcasts since we realized yesterday that was number 50. We've been doing this for a really long time. This journey of, Alzheimer's and this labor of love for my aunt and for her mom, bringing awareness to the disease and to the caregivers out there that are helping along with their loved ones. A few things have come up in the past little while that we wanted to address. I think that Karen has been feeling that some things are not coming across clear, and I figured, coming on here and getting some clarity couldn't hurt. So let's start off with what happened this morning.
This morning I was talking with Catherine, she's a co-founder of the Memory Ball, and they've been doing this ball for like the last 7 years, and all the money goes to the Alzheimer'S Society of Toronto. And so we were talking because I was telling her about the foundation and how, asking her, does the Memory Ball donate to anybody else? So it started like that. And then, of course, her mom also has Alzheimer's, so she's a young caregiver, so she completely understands this journey. And, we got to talking about how there's not anything for the caregiver. Nothing is out there. Like, everybody's very focused on the cure, which, of course, you should be. However, there's interim processes that are happening. And if we want to put it in perspective, the disease is over 100 years old. So thinking about the cure, yes, we definitely need one, but there hasn't been in over 100 years. And in that time period, I would hate to figure out what the statistics would be for the caregivers that have looked after a person with a diagnosis. And I think what gets lost in translation is that I say it, that we saved the healthcare system billions of dollars, but you have to really put it in perspective. It's not just the healthcare system that we save. There's a huge emotional and mental toll that it takes. And I posted something today because I posted it not for sympathy. That's another thing. Like, the thing I posted about the hardest thing that I've ever done is grieving for somebody who's still alive, because that's what this journey is. Like, every day a little piece goes, and in my mom's case, the worst thing was her speech went first. So I haven't heard my mom's voice in a very, very long time. And it's a different disease. It's different than cancer, like even heart disease. My dad had it, your dad had it. So it's different. My journey with my father was not as hard as my cousin's, because my dad just had a massive heart attack and he died. So there was no goodbyes like that. But at least even with Wendy, my uncle, he got to say things. He got to do things in the last bit of his life where, he got to say goodbye to people. He got to tell people what he wanted to tell them. He got to kind of like
wrap things up.
And And when you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, you don't really get that option,
because it's not really, you don't get that option.
Immediately it's denial. Like, even it even could be with the caregiver themselves. It's denial. Like, even if they see signs, they're trying to fool themselves. Oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But really and truly, from the time it's diagnosed, it's immediately on the caregiver. I always mention it just makes no sense to me, but okay, if somebody had a brain injury, which Alzheimer's and dementia is, it's a neurological disorder, and it's progressive. So if you had a brain, like say you got into a car accident and you had a brain injury, right? Would you, when you go to the doctor now, like now you're going to the doctor and you're seeing a neurologist or whoever, would you be talking to that person with the brain injury? Who would you be speaking with? You'd be speaking to the caregiver.
Right.
The person who's going to now have to look after you, who's going to make sure you take your medication, and now all of that care goes on to one person. And I don't think there's enough awareness about that. So we do these podcasts, and yeah, you can probably see us sometimes joking around. And we do that for comic relief, because really and truly, if you really had to think about this disease, or even being a caregiver, like I'm not denouncing anybody who's a caregiver, like anybody in that role, it is not a great role. It's emotionally draining,
mentally draining, physically draining.
I go through probably every single emotion every day. You know, you go through anger, you know, bargaining, resentment, like, you know, on a daily basis. Like today, I was talking to Catherine, I'm like, you know, some days I'm like, okay, my mom has zero quality of life. Maybe she should, you know, go now. And then I feel bad saying that. I feel guilty saying that. You know, it's just,
roller coaster
I
of
can't
emotion.
explain this journey enough. I can't do it justice. We come on here and we try to raise awareness to what you might have to go through, what they won't tell you. Like, I'm surprised to know that almost 20 years later, you know, people with a diagnosis still don't know where to go, what supports are out there. You know, I was talking with someone whose husband has dementia. She, you know, they don't tell you, okay, what you should do, what you should put in order,
what the next step
is. Like, it's sad to me that we're not progressing in that area. But this is the whole reason for these podcasts. And if you see us like laughing, it's because you have to. If you don't laugh through this journey, you're going to be in the fetal position, rocking back and forth. And I'm not joking. I'm really not joking. Things that I've had to experience in these 18 years, I can't even articulate it. I can't, because I can't go there. I can't afford to go there. I've gone through every possible outcome of compassion fatigue. I've went through depression. I've had to see a therapist. Like, it's not easy. It is, and that's why it's so important for this wellness center, because you're so, I don't know, like I talk to other people on the other side of it, you know, like Kalina was on recently talking about how she's struggling to get back into life now after caregiving for her grandmother. Bill is another person who, you know, he's caregived for his mom as an only child for 5 years, and he's still struggling because it's such a weird thing. It's such a weird thing to deal with. I don't know. So this is why we're doing this foundation, because
so for the people that are new to this, or maybe just missed a few episodes or whatever, let's take it way back to what you're doing, not attempting to do, but what you've done. So you have created a foundation. Let's go there. What is the foundation about? What is it called? Why are you doing it? What can we expect about it? Tell me more about what this foundation is, so that when I decide that, you know, I really want to donate something to a great cause, this is going to be number one on my brain to do that because of. Go ahead.
Okay, so the foundation, it's just about the caregiver. there's no other, I don't want to, I looked and I researched, and I didn't want to duplicate anything else that someone else is doing. It doesn't make sense. So a lot of nonprofits, including the Memory Ball, they just donate to Alzheimer's Society of Toronto, which then demographically people in other areas, you're not going to benefit from that unless you live in the Toronto area. So there's nothing in Peel, there's nothing in Halton, there's nothing anywhere, and I don't think you should be demographically challenged to access a service.
No, it should be standard all across the board.
Right, so it doesn't matter where you live. If you need help, you should get that help. And unless you go through it, so I'll give you like the Coles notes. If your parent, let's say, or loved one or spouse or whatever is diagnosed with dementia, particularly, I can't speak to other diseases, but even your dad, you get limited, if any. So like, think about it. And it has to be, you have to be kind of like not able to do anything. So if, let's just say, it's your parents, so it's a spousal situation. So let's just say your mom has Alzheimer's or dementia. Immediately they're going to send, well, not immediately, after a while they'll send a caseworker to your house from the local health integration network, so LIN, and they'll come and do an assessment. However, if anyone knows anything about dementia, the beginning stages, the person is still able to talk, and they're going to say things that are probably not even true. Like, can you bathe yourself? Yes. They'll ask you very undignified questions to the person. So it's, and then the case manager is going to make an assessment out of that, and then probably say, oh, well, you have your husband here, so they can help you. So you won't get any assistance. So now you're on your own. So now that all of that caregiving goes on to the other person, the able-bodied person. So, or they'll suggest you can put the person, your parent, in a day program, which is subsidized. I think it's $16 a day or something. That's if there's space. And then it's not like a daycare where it's segregated by early onset, moderate onset. It's completely, you're all in one room. So imagine like you have a kid and they separate you from like 0 to 2, or right? Not when it's on the opposite end. Everyone's in one area. So you can imagine that too. So if your like parent, like my mom got it at 57, she's there with people who are like 70, 80, and so that's the reality of it. So basically, and then of course the person comes home, like that's only a day program, and then it's back on you. And I was talking to Catherine today. She's a young caregiver, for her mom, and we were talking about, like, imagine telling somebody, like trying to explain to somebody how it was to get your mom to a doctor's appointment. Like, it's so stressful. I remember those times, like the night before you're panicking because you're thinking about
how it's going to be.
It's going to take all day for this one 20-minute appointment to get her dressed, to get her in the car, to get her out of the car, to get her back in the car. Like, I don't think people really understand
what goes into it.
And it takes a lot of patience, and it's not the natural scheme of things. Like, I did not ask to be this expert that apparently I am now. I didn't ask for this. It kind of just happened that way. And, like, people are always asking how you can help, how you can support. Just support this foundation so I can help other people, not to alleviate at least some of the burden and the stress that they are going to go through. I try not to, that's why when we do these podcasts, we make it light and we make it kind of airy, because I don't want it to be doom and gloom. Like, I don't want you to scare you into, gosh, it's going to be like really hard for you. We were even talking about that today, Catherine and I, where if you're not financially sound, or you don't have the financial means, this is going to take a toll on you. Serious toll. Like, you have to give up your career. There's a lot of things involved when you're caregiving. A lot of sacrifices have to be made. A lot of friendships that are like kind of put on hold, and it's because it's hard to talk about it to someone who doesn't understand your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I come here, and I think people don't, and I said it's like a blessing and a curse how I was raised. I was raised where you just, put yourself together. It's you're not asking for sympathy. You brush yourself off and you get on with it. But I don't think it resonates where I'm going through a lot, and I just, I keep it in, and I just keep it moving. But like I've been saying, like I was saying to Wendy earlier, I said, when I had my son at home, that was a good motivator for me. Like, okay, gotta do this because Jalen's here. I gotta keep.
It pushes you to get up and keep
right.
going.
And now it's, it's a struggle sometimes because like he's not home. So now I'm pushing myself to get up and get going and get things done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and I hear you loud and clear. I mean, a lot of people like myself can sit back and wonder, like, how do you do this? Because I can't imagine when you try to really fathom what your reality is, and versus like, we all have our stuff. Let's keep it real. And it's not to make light of anybody's journey, because we all have our stuff. But when you really sit down with somebody and actually listen to what goes into a day or a week of their lives, it's really something. Like, caregiving is no joke. We were talking about this over lunch. My dad didn't have Alzheimer's, and he was really kind of deteriorating for about a year before he passed. That's 1 year out of 18 for her. And he was still of sound mind, and his body obviously was shutting down, but he was very aware of what he was doing, could communicate with all of us. And that was hard enough to see and to watch, in terms of the amount of pressure that was put on my mom just to help him out in that 1 year, and for us, that we weren't used to doing. For somebody who is so self-sufficient and cannot sit still and wants to do everything for themselves, it was a very big, life-changing ordeal. And that's for somebody who doesn't have dementia. So, people like yourself who are dealing with this on a consistent basis every day without that diagnosis of it's going to get better, because it's not.
No.
Right? That's
I'm waiting.
That's tough.
Like, my mom is actively dying, and every day is tentative. Like, so my plans every day are tentative. Like, yeah, okay, people could ask, oh, can you do this? We'll see. Like,
not sure.
Yeah. I like to say yes, a hard yes, but I can't. So yeah, that's just been my life, and it's 3 years of that. Like, people even have like 3 months, a month.
Yeah.
I have 3 years of it. So,
sorry, just having a moment.
Life is full circle. So my mom's actively dying, and she's actively.
I'm actively. I'm going into labor.
Full circle.
Okay, so a few people have been reaching out to me and to mostly her, in terms of what they can do to help. And so I want you to answer that Cole's Notes version, the most basic, easiest, what can people do to help? And
they can buy a beanie.
Beanies! Did you say beanies? Oh my god. There's so many different kinds, you guys. They're beautiful. They are made just in time for this crazy weather we're about to get here in Ontario, in Canada, anywhere that you live where there's going to be snow. There's just so many different kinds.
Well, it's cool now. The millennials are just wearing them. You
Yeah.
don't have to have snow.
There's so many different ways you can customize your own. So, we have a bunch of different ones that obviously, are already here.
You could make whatever logo, whatever color, whatever, you can design your own.
You know, and you can go, how do you do that? You go on the website?
Yeah.
And it's pretty straightforward. It shows you,
You just tell me what, and then we'll put the order in.
So you get to choose your colors, you can choose your logo, and it's for such a great cause. So it's, you know, I know that for her, she has mentioned that she feels uncomfortable requesting donations or money, and that's it. Like, she wants to be able to give back as well, so that, you know, when you donate something, you have something in your hands for your donation, which I think is great, because a lot of those charities and, you know,
we were talking about that too, like even the memory ball and stuff, like talking about like when you're giving to charities, how much does it actually get to the person?
That's right.
Like, and there's a lot of charities that, you know, they've done like these reports on, you know, I think March of Dimes, 10 cents out of $1. Well, that's very fitting. Out of every dollar goes to the actual person.
Well, and this is why people are apprehensive about donating, because you don't know where the money's going, and most times it's not going where you think it's going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So people are very apprehensive about wanting to donate, and so, you know, in this type of situation, you know, you can let them know exactly where their money is going to go and how it's going to be spent, and what they get for that.
Well, we're opening a wellness center, and the reason why it's because there's nothing out there like that. So you know, I've done research. Caregivers, yeah, you know, they'll have, oh, here's a resource, or here's like, I know the Alzheimer's Society. That's the other thing. Alzheimer's Society, they're different in every municipality, and they don't operate together. So when I was talking earlier about the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto, you're not going to get that same service in Peel. They don't work in unison. They work in silos. So it's different in Peel. You might not get the same programs or access to things. And it's all mostly related to the person that has the illness. And yeah, there's support groups. And Catherine and I were speaking about that earlier today, where I'm like, yeah, I really want to go to a support group to talk about, you know, this out loud to other people who are going through, like, yeah, that sounds like a good time. Like, sign me up, right? Like,
you bring the snacks.
Yeah, that sounds, I can't wait to talk about your problems.
Yeah.
And so I figured, okay, what do we need? Where is the gap in service? Okay, the gap in services. There is nothing just for the caregiver. I want a place for, like, what I would have wanted. So like I want to go where I don't have, and it's not for, because somebody asked, oh, so you bring your parent? No, because there's other places for that. They already have that. No. It's for you. It's for you to get
escape.
Yeah. Do you need counseling? Okay, get counseling. We can give you counseling. Do you need like one-on-one counseling? Do you need
a treatment?
Like a treatment? Do you need a massage? Do you need, you know, just hang out to have a coffee?
A yoga class. Yeah,
whatever. We're going to figure out how to source. Or do you need help to get back into the workforce? Maybe you're displaced. So that's what this is. It's just for the caregiver. So what I wanted, like, essentially, what I'd like to do is provide respite care. So send somebody to your house to look after your parent or spouse or whoever, and then you can come out, and then you don't have to pay for this service. So that's what I'd like to do, like to actually help people. Seth Rogen, of course, well, it's Seth Rogen, so not, you know, he's doing a similar thing in the States, and he has a charity called Hilarity for Charity, right? So he does these things because his mother-in-law has Alzheimer's, and he's a very strong advocate in the States. He goes to Congress, like he speaks a lot about Alzheimer awareness and the savageness of this disease, because of course now he's seeing it firsthand. And I want to be able to duplicate that. He doesn't have a wellness center, but he pays, he has his charity. You can actually apply to it, and they'll give you respite hours. But it's not the same. Like, he's just providing these and I think it's financial. I don't want this to be based on finances. I just think the honor system, if you feel you need this, then you should just access it. Because a lot of times too, it's unfortunately in this country, it seems like it's either really poor or really rich that, seem to get access to services, and then the middle class always gets squeezed out of that because you're kind of like in the middle of everything, so you don't get anything.
Yeah, you make too much money or not enough.
Right. So I'm filling this gap. That's all it is. It's like I did a needs analysis, and this is the gap, and I just would like to fill this gap.
Good.
And again, I am not going to benefit from this. I can't. It's too late for me. But it doesn't have to be too late for other people.
Well, just knowing that you're making a difference in other people's lives in terms of knowing what they're about to face and how much of a difference you are making because of that. What do you mean? That's huge in terms of, I get what you mean about how you're not going to benefit, like, because you're 18 years in and your journey is almost coming to an end with it. But, the difference that you're making in other people's lives is huge.
It's the pay it forward, right? Like, if there's a gap and something that you could have benefited from and that could probably help somebody's health, because that's what it translates into, like, to prevent burnout, right? Compassion,
depression.
Depression. I suffered from depression, and it's every day. It's a challenge not to sink back in there. It is a struggle, but so far so good. But yeah, like, there's no shame. I had to take antidepressants for, I don't know, a few years. I had to take sleep medication. It hasn't been an easy journey. And, I think it's really significant. You can talk to any caregiver, even after the journey, and you'll hear, like, stories. You're like, oh my gosh, right? Like our friend Bill. He's still struggling with the loss of his mom because he's so displaced.
I mean, it's all you do for so long, and when the person transitions, you're kind of left like, well, what do I do now?
And then you feel guilty, like you start analyzing each thing, like what Kalina was saying, like, should I have gone away? Like,
the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I shouldn't have gone away because then this wouldn't have happened, or I shouldn't have complained that one time when I almost lost it. I was so, overwhelmed. You start feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Even though you're human. At the end of the day, you're just human.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you decided that you wanted to, clarify a few things. As well, if for the people that are not into the beanies, which I find impossible in this type of weather, but just saying, not everyone's from Canada. We do have the baseball version. Baseball caps, and they're super cute and they're super nice. So again, all proceeds will go to the foundation, and it's for a great cause. Guys, like, if you know us, or if you know us one by one, we're not people that ask for much.
Well, these podcasts we're not sponsored. We just do this. Like, and we were talking, we're just being completely honest. That's why I wanted to come on, because I know sometimes we joke around, and I think it gets lost in translation for people who haven't been our whole, along our whole journey. So if you're tuning in, even yesterday, people would be like, okay, that was a comedy show, right? Okay, but
don't make me laugh.
But it's really not, that's not the intent. We try to make it light, and but at the end of the day, sometimes, like, I don't feel like doing the podcast. I don't. Ask her. That's why they're always unedited, because we come on and we're just like, okay, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. What do you have to talk about? I don't know. And that's how it works. But obviously they're doing some good, and we'd like to keep them coming. But to keep them coming requires money. Because it's
not free.
It's out of my pocket. All of this stuff is
Nothing
out of my
is
pocket.
free.
Yeah, like, it's not a free platform. Nothing is free. So, yeah.
And donations in any currency. I mean, my gosh, if every single one of our viewers donated $2, $5, like, cost of their coffee or whatever, I don't want to sound like one of those infomercials on TV, but really, I mean, we have so many people that view our podcast. If everybody were to just donate a little something, it all goes to a really great cause. It's not going into our pockets.
It's not.
You know.
Take that. Okay, start.
So you're gonna hit me off with half?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
Yeah.
so it's fun.
Alright.
So it's $10, $25. No, I'm just joking. No, seriously, guys, we need assistance in order to make money. You know, you gotta have money, or in order to have money, you gotta make money. I don't know how that saying goes, but we really have been working diligently on trying to get this foundation up and going. And you know, it takes a community, it takes a village. We're kind of coming on here, and we're asking our community and our village.
Well, how many things have we donated to? Lots. Chocolates for school, fundraisers, like it's, you know, on and on and on. You go to Walmart, do you want to donate to sick kids? You know?
Yeah.
All for a good cause, right?
Yeah. And how to, again, let's just make it simple. So how do people do this? They can just go on the website and it's set up like easily for them to make a donation?
Well, the website has, I'm going to see if I can do that. It's a good idea. But you can order the beanies directly from the website, for sure.
What is the website?
www.reinventandrestore.com.
I was going to say rhinoceros and ridiculous.
And it's one word. There's no underscore, hashtag.
She'll put it in the comments or in the heading, just to let you guys know.
The foundation, I'll put the link on my wall. It's because it's on a platform. So, yep.
Get a beanie, guys. It's gonna help out a lot. Or, you know, even for a gift for Christmas.
Yeah, a gift.
You know, Christmas, birthdays, whatever. You customize it yourself. You know, I'll come on and I'll say this. Like, I don't know her to ask for anything, and I'm one of those people that don't ask for much either. We just weren't bred that way. So, you know, if we are, which is what we're doing, please just know that, you know, we want this to be a successful thing. We want this to come into fruition. We worked really hard to make it happen, and we just need help. And, you know, like that old saying that my mom used to always tell me, you don't ask, you don't get. We're asking. So a lot of you have reached out and asked how you guys can help. Well, this is how you can help, right? Make a donation. We'll get you a beanie. Customize it yourself. You can rock it out. People will be like, where'd you get that beanie?
I'm going to say, can't tell you, it's custom.
So, anything else, or is there more? You got it all out?
Got it all out.
All right.
Just wanted to, you know.
I get it.
Needed people to know that, like, this isn't all joking around, and it's not, you know, serious sometimes. It's actually serious all the time. We just try to find humor in it because you have to. You have to. Necessary.
So on that note, I'm about to undergo another contraction. Let's not do that.
This is not a joke, okay? Really and truly, all jokes aside, she really is in active labor.
This baby's coming.
Thanks.
I'm over this pregnancy thing. I need him to vacate. This is it. Like
So we were just saying her whole pregnancy was documented on a podcast.
Literally, because I think
you did the expose on a podcast.
Yes, we started off and I was not pregnant, and I found out, and wow. So looking back throughout the entire,
for sure, then it's 9 months.
Yeah, because we started in January, and
it's been over a year for me. For sure, I started like last October, I think, or September.
Okay, guys. So, questions, comments, always feel free to DM or even leave them, you know, where everyone can see, and, you know, we'll get back to you on it. Get on that website, order or customize your own beanie, make a donation for a great cause, continue to share.
I wonder if you should put one on. You want to put one on?
Well, I can't with my Marge Simpson hair, but
why not? You can put on the hat.
No, I can't with my Marge Simpson hair, but you can't. You're gonna have to hurry because there's a contraction coming on, and it's gonna happen. Oh, yeah, all of that.
Your daughter said I look like a Karen. She really is having a contraction. This kind of looks weird. Okay. You good?
That's a loaded question. Is there anything else you need to talk about?
No.
All right, so let's
not have the child on the podcast.
Get your beanie. I'm getting one for this little guy. Do they make little guy ones?
Yeah, why not? Are you getting one for the little guy? Or girl?
I should. We'll see.
I look like
A skier.
a skier, really?
Alright guys, be well, be blessed. We will see you real soon. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Bye-bye.